To welcome you to learn about Bitcoin. We're excited you found your way here. I know Bitcoin can feel a little intimidating. After all, it's both a new technology network and a new form of money. Everyone here at Swan has been in your place. I first learned about Bitcoin in 2016 and quickly dismissed it. And oh, how I wish I could go back in time and start learning about it and buying it sooner. But the good news is, you're still early. We're all early. And there's something really exciting about building the economic future we want to see together. You understand by now that it's important to figure Bitcoin out, but maybe you're unsure where to start. So we've built this course for you. Swan is known for its dedication to education. In fact, our team is full of some of the best known Bitcoin educators in the world. And we're going to break down for you exactly what Bitcoin is and why you should welcome it into your life. As I mentioned, this series of videos is intended to welcome you to Bitcoin, a new kind of money. So you might be asking, well, why do we need a new kind of money? Let's find out. Our money is broken, and the financial system is rigged to benefit those at the top at the expense of those at the bottom. So let's talk about why. To put it simply, over time, the same amount of money buys you less and less in real goods. The way we experience it is higher prices, higher home prices, higher costs of tuition, higher rents. The things you need most are getting more expensive, and for many, income from work isn't keeping up. With banking today, the money you keep in your bank account goes down in purchasing power over time. So if you have, say, $1,000 in your account today, in 1 year's time, that $1,000 won't buy you as many groceries, for example, or school supplies. In fact, $1,000 a year ago only buys you about $930 worth of the same things today. And this continues year after year. That is why you were always hearing about how going to the movies used to cost a nickel in my day from your grandparents, or how some of today's multi-million-dollar homes were once bought for less than $100,000. So are things getting more valuable, or is your money just buying you less? And if so, why? We've all been in this trap for a long time. Somewhere along the way, our money stopped being usable for savings and became merely an instrument to exchange for scarcer assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate. How many of you watching this have your worth stored in the value of your home? Have you ever stopped to wonder why your house has become your main source of savings for the future? Bitcoin is a form of digital property and the most powerful savings technology in the world. It allows you to save your hard-earned money and plan for your future. Unlike the money in our current system, Bitcoin is immune to manipulation, inflation, and confiscation. It is the only monetary instrument in the history of our species that has a fixed supply. And it is the only monetary instrument that has its monetary policy distributed across thousands of computers around the world. No one controls it. No one person can change it. And what you own is really yours, not a liability with counterparty risk. Money is supposed to reduce our future uncertainty. It should serve as a savings vehicle. The time and energy you exchanged to save your money should not be ripped away from you over time, because you work hard to earn money. But unfortunately, fiat currency supply is constantly expanding. In recent years, more money than ever has flooded the system and exacerbated our debt bubble. We saw stimulus by both the central bank in the form of monetary policy and directly by Congress in the form of fiscal policy. Remember those stimulus checks? But when government prints money, it doesn't make society richer. In fact, it does the opposite. It makes us all poorer, because money printed out of thin air doesn't produce wealth. And when new loans are created by the commercial banking system, this is actually creating new US dollars in the system. Take a look at how this is done in the words of past Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke.
Is that tax money that the Fed is spending?
It's not tax money. The banks have accounts with the Fed much the same way that you have an account in a commercial bank. So to lend to a bank, we simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account that they have with the Fed. So it's much more akin, although not exactly the same, but it's much more akin to printing money than it is to borrowing.
I guess it's just that easy, huh, Ben? But remember, many people are not getting pay raises that keep pace with all the new money being created. And much of that new money flows into assets, like real estate and stocks. So we see asset inflation, and assets are disproportionately owned by the wealthy. Expanding the money supply results in decreasing purchasing power and creates a wider and wider wealth gap among society due to the value of hard assets appreciating in value. One way to think of fiat currency is like a melting ice cube. If you don't buy something with that money, it melts away over time. Every day, people are now forced to become hedge fund managers, day traders, or constantly search for the next passive income opportunity. Many families have both parents working because one income is just not enough to make ends meet. How many people now have side hustles on top of their full-time jobs? And how many senior citizens on fixed incomes are quickly running low on money in retirement? There are reverberating effects across multiple generations when a society runs on broken money, which is why millions of people around the world, and soon billions, are turning to Bitcoin. It's like digital gold that you can utilize as a savings vehicle for the long term while also serving as a decentralized peer-to-peer payment network. I can send any amount of Bitcoin to someone across the world almost instantaneously. Bitcoin is money reimagined for the digital age. And once we see what makes good money, we can understand why Bitcoin is better money. Bitcoin is an asset that you can control yourself without having to trust banks for safekeeping. Imagine if you had bars of gold that you could send around the world just like you send an email. In this way, you don't have to use third-party banks to do international wire transfers or even trust the banks to safekeep your digital gold. The internet is not controlled by any single entity. It is a distributed network of computers that makes up what we know and use today. Bitcoin is similar in this regard, which is why some have referred to it as the Internet of Money or the Internet of Value. Bitcoin is operated by its users around the world with transactions added to a shared ledger or record of transactions known as the blockchain. And the total amount of Bitcoin can never be more than 21 million. But unlike fiat currency, there is no top-down leader, no office, no central server, no authority. Bitcoin is run by a community of users and developers, as Bitcoin was the true invention of digital scarcity. At the time it was created in 2009, nobody thought this kind of thing could be possible. Bitcoin later acquired a market price around 2010 and has steadily grown over time with several waves of adoption. Now, there are tens of thousands of copycat coins which came after Bitcoin. And unfortunately, these coins have led to many people being misled or scammed, which is what occurred with the dramatic collapse of FTX, Celsius, Voyager, and many others. This industry that calls itself crypto has largely fooled investors. The issues with crypto include fraud, dishonest marketing, and fake decentralization. Many altcoins have centralized issuance and control of tokens. And in many cases, the promoters are dishonest or omit negative trade-offs. For these reasons, it's safer to focus on Bitcoin only. The investment case for Bitcoin is based on understanding how and why it supersedes other contenders for money. So let's talk about what makes a good money. For example, a good money should be scarce. It should be hard to create more of it. Divisible. It should be easy to divide it into smaller units and transact with ease. Portable. It should be easy to take with you or send it to whoever you want. Durable. It should not be perishable or easily destroyed. Verifiable. It should be easy to verify as genuine and authentic, making it easier to use and trade. Established history. The longer it has been valued by society, the better the good works as a store of value. Resistant to censorship. If you can control it and transact without asking permission, that's clearly better than a money where you must first ask permission from a controlling authority. Now think about the fiat money you use today. How does it compare to this list of qualities? Here's a side-by-side comparison of how the most popular forms of money stack up. So let's walk through these for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more scarce than gold or fiat currency. It has a 21 million limit on the number of Bitcoins. By contrast, our dollar limit is pretty much infinite. Bitcoin is divisible down to 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. It can easily be sent in tiny fractions. On portability, Bitcoin is digital, and thus it is far easier to use for internet commerce, and it can also be used in brick and mortar commerce. Bitcoin is more durable in that it can be backed up in multiple locations. Bitcoin is more easily verifiable than gold or fiat currency, as we simply use computers to verify the entire supply of Bitcoin. In terms of established history, gold has the advantage of having been used for thousands of years. However, Bitcoin has operated flawlessly for 14 years, and it has significant advantages in other areas that contribute to why more people are adopting Bitcoin over time. Bitcoin is far more censorship resistant than gold or fiat currency, as you can simply send or receive it using a smartphone without asking permission from any authority. Put simply, gold is too slow and too costly to send around the world, and fiat currencies are simply devaluing too quickly to be good money. Bitcoin is superior in many ways, but much of the world simply doesn't understand this new technology yet, and the process of monetization takes time. After over a decade of historical price action, it is clear that the adoption of Bitcoin is only growing stronger. Naysayers point to the 80% decline in the price of Bitcoin during bear markets as evidence of its flaws as a savings vehicle. It is certainly volatile in the short term, but they conveniently ignore that the price always recovers and continues to climb exponentially during bull markets. This is a common misconception when analyzing technological revolutions. While short-term price is nearly impossible to predict, the prevailing trend is extremely bullish. Zoom out. The general public made this same mistake when first confronted with the telecommunications and internet revolutions. In fact, every major technological disruption in history has these same characteristics. As we look at this chart, we can see how quickly adoption took place with various technologies. Many of these technologies are now considered ubiquitous. Almost everyone has access to them or uses them. And also notice how quickly adoption takes place nowadays in the age of the internet. But notice how it's not all going up in a straight line. Volatility is commonplace when you are early on the adoption curve. In her book, Technological Revolutions and Financial Capital, author Carlota Perez famously said, "Nothing important happens without crashes." Similar to any technological revolution, there are boom and bust cycles as Bitcoin continues to penetrate mainstream society. But if you are patient and invest consistently, you can protect yourself from the loss of your fiat currency's purchasing power at the same time. You don't want to end up as a future meme like Katie Couric from the internet boom.
That little mark with the A and then the ring around it?
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah.
What, do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
The good news is that you're here watching this video, which means you are a step ahead of 99% of investors before they inevitably pile into the opportunity that Bitcoin presents. This is to your advantage as an investor. The problems created by fiat currency can be fixed by Bitcoin, leading us toward a bright orange future. Instead of having so many people struggling to get by because their salaries aren't keeping pace with the cost of living, Bitcoin empowers us to benefit from increased purchasing power over time. We won't all have to become investment managers and financial planners just to get by. We can simply save with Bitcoin and experience prosperity and growth. Right now, society is divided and people are fighting over control. This creates nasty and divisive politics because people begin to vent their frustrations about feeling there's no way to catch up in the system. People start to blame one party or another, one group of people or another. But we need to look deeper at the money. What if we could peacefully coexist without so much fighting? Bitcoin could fix this. Instead of having our power taken away by large governments or corporations propped up by debt, the power can be given back to individuals and families. Innovation and technology will also benefit the many, with the cost of products and services dropping down while your purchasing power increases. The last few years have been very destabilizing for many classes in our society, but bringing about a Bitcoin standard can return a sense of order. It will empower us with more choices. Bitcoin offers the opportunity for a reverse wealth transfer, one that benefits the working class and helps humanity seize on the advantages of operating with an upgraded monetary system based on math, not manipulation. Once you see that Bitcoin is a technical solution to the issues of money that have plagued humanity for thousands of years, it's hard not to be optimistic. Paradoxically, scarcity in money leads to abundance in everything else, and Bitcoin can create an abundant world. We've only just begun to scratch the surface on what Bitcoin is and how it can change your life. Join me in Unit 2 as we talk more in depth about the investment and savings case for Bitcoin. We'll even give you $10 of free Bitcoin to start your journey. See you there.